Hello everyone, today we are going to take a look at the FX forward. Our underlier is not an equity asset anymore like Microsoft or IBM shares, but it will be an FX pair like euro-dollar or dollar-yen. Once again, we are going to involve Mr. A and Mr. B. They are going to enter into an FX forward contract on dollar-yen. The size of the contract will be $10 million, maturity date will be 1 year, the buyer will be Mr. A, the seller will be Mr. B. So the aim is to determine what is the forward price. As usual in a forward contract, at T0 nothing happens. In 1 year, Mr. A will purchase $10 million from Mr. B, and the question is, how many yens should Mr. B ask from Mr. A for those $10 million? So now let's think about what Mr. B should do in order to hedge his position. In 1 year, he will need to give $10 million to Mr. A. So he needs to be sure that in 1 year he will have those $10 million. The best way for Mr. B to be sure that he will get $10 million in 1 year is to get them now and put them in a deposit. It will be a US dollar deposit that will bear US dollar interest rates, let's say 2.5%. So in order to get $10 million back in 1 year, you will need to put a bit less in the deposit, namely 10 million divided by 1 plus 2.5%. At T0, Mr. B does not get anything from Mr. A, so he needs to find a way of getting those $9.756 million. On the other hand, in 1 year, he will get Japanese yen from Mr. A. So it seems quite natural for Mr. B to borrow Japanese yen now, to convert those Japanese yen into dollars, and to use those dollars to make the deposit. If the current dollar-yen exchange rate is now 110, Mr. B knows that he needs to borrow 110 times 9.756 million Japanese yen. So if we recap what Mr. B is doing at T0, he borrows Japanese yen, he converts those Japanese yen into dollars, and he puts those dollars into a deposit. So there is no net cash flow for Mr. B at time 0, which is good because he doesn't get anything from Mr. A either at T0. In 1 year, he will unwind his US dollar deposit and will get $10 million. That will allow him to deliver the $10 million he owes to Mr. A. He will also have to reimburse his Japanese yen loan. If interest rates are 0.2% in Japan, he will have to reimburse 110 times 9.756 times 1 plus 0.2% Japanese yen. In order for Mr. B to be flat, you need F to cover exactly for the amount for the reimbursement of his Japanese loan. So that gives you the value of F. Now remember that 9.756 is nothing else than 10 million divided by 1 plus 2.5%, so the formula can be rewritten this way. So to compute F, you apply to the $10 million the spot FX exchange rate, so 110, that you adjust by the ratio of 1 plus interest rate of the two currencies. So you can infer easily the formula for the forward FX rate. The forward FX rate equals the spot FX rate times the ratio of the 1 plus interest rates. You can generalize further for any maturity t by adding the exponent big T. An important remark is that in the formula of the forward FX rate, you divide by the interest rate of the base currency. So here, dollar yen, so you divide by interest rate of the dollar. The consequence is that if the interest rate of the base currency is high versus the interest rates of the counter currency, the forward will be low. So if the interest rates of dollar is high versus the interest rates of Japanese yen, which is the case, the forward of dollar yen will be low compared to the spot of dollar yen. In other words, if a currency has a high interest rate versus another currency, the forward FX rate implies a depreciation of the currency with the highest interest rate. This is typically the case of most emerging market currencies versus the dollar, for instance. So now let's take some examples. Let's start with dollar ruble. So if dollar ruble spot is 70, if interest rates in USD are 2.5% and in ruble are 8%, then the forward 1 year of dollar ruble will be 70 times 1.08 divided by 1.025, which is 76. So indeed, the forward implies a depreciation of ruble versus dollar because ruble is the currency with the highest interest rate. Another example with the euro Swiss franc, spot is 113, interest rate in euro minus 0.15, interest rate in Swiss franc minus 0.5 for 1 year. So the forward 1 year is 113 times the ratio, which gives you 113.40. So now we know everything about the FX forward, and that's it for today. Goodbye.